mostly we moved outside the city, to somewhere rural. And, the work was like some sort of like a farming job, very challenging. So you go there, you work almost about, it was a 12-hour shift. So which means that, yes, I had to sometimes forsake classes.
Hi guys, so this is our YouTube channel, and today we have a guest here who is in the name of Dr. Michael Frimpong. He's our guest for today. So I'll like Dr. Michael to introduce himself, and then we take it out from there. So Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Annette, for this opportunity, to bring myself out for the first time. I'm not the very kind of person who like to do this, but I still consider it a great opportunity, to be here, to share my experiences on my traveling, Yeah, so before I start, I would like to express my appreciation to everybody watching this, and much more appreciation and my thanks goes to people that know me and they are watching this. Thank you all. I also thank my parents and then also my friends and then my police too as well. So like Annette mentioned earlier, my name is Michael Frimpong. I grew up basically in Kumasi, from Krofrum, and from there, I attended at St. Martin Secondary School. Then from St. Martin Secondary School to KNUST, and then after KNUST, I had the opportunity to travel outside the country for the first time to UK, where I pursued my master's in at the University of Nottingham. Then after, I found myself here in the United States. Yeah, so this is basically my introduction.
Yes, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for coming to the show. And if you want to come to the show, you can send me a message through Facebook at Anns-Hub. So as we continue with the show, I want to know what motivated you to move to the UK in the first place.
Okay, so I think like it was by opportunity and then by also by education. So I came to the UK for educational reasons. I had done my bachelor's degree from KNUST, and then after I was thinking of pursuing my education or continuing my education. So I was interested in doing my master's. So I thought that doing my master's in KNUST would be expensive, and that wouldn't be a viable option for me because I didn't see myself to have the money to do my master's at KNUST. So I was busy searching for opportunities outside KNUST where I could get funding and support for my studies. So yeah, I did a lot of searches. I did a lot of applications, and then I had the opportunity, to come to the UK, to the University of Nottingham for my master's. So yeah, so my traveling outside the country was basically to further my education and to do my master's.
Okay, sounds good. So can you mention what's the sponsorship, the particular type of sponsorship that you had in sponsoring your education in the UK?
Yeah, so like I said, I applied to many institutions in the UK, but then I had this offer from University of Nottingham called the Developing Solutions Scholarship, and I was placed for the Developing Solutions Scholarship. They have two categories. So there is one that pays for all the tuitions, and then you only have to take care of your living expenses. And then there is a second one that only pays for half. So I was placed on the first category where they will take care of all my tuition, but then my living expenses, I will have to take care of that one. And besides that, I was also placed on the reserve list for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship. I mean, I think like it was I will only have to hope that somebody who has been offered, the Commonwealth Share Scholarship drops, and then they will consider me. I'll be the next person that will be considered, but that didn't happen. So There I had the 100% tuition waiver under the Developing Solution Scholarship in Nottingham.
So yes, guys, Mike, thank you. So yes, guys, if you want more of this into details, you can put it in the comment section so that we can invite our doctor to come on the show again to explain into details how he went about getting the scholarship and everything. But for now, I want to ask you, when you went to the UK, being an immigrant, where you don't have, did you have a family member there? Let me ask this question before.
Yes, I did. I did have family members over there. So when I first got to the UK, yeah, I mean before going, I was in contact with them, and then when I went to meet them, and I was welcomed by them. Yeah, so I have an auntie, and then other extended relatives, who also met me there. Yeah.
Okay, so can you share some of the challenges, even though you had a family member there, were you staying with them or you had to move out? Because I know for me, when I came here, I didn't have the that opportunity or that privilege to stay with my family members. I was with my husband, so we had to rent our own place to stay. So how was yours? How, like, some challenges that you face, even though you had family members there?
Yeah, so staying with the family member would have been a great opportunity for me, considering that I had to fend for myself and then take care of myself because I wasn't under a fully funded scholarship, right? But my auntie, who had the opportunity, who could have helped me stay with her, lived very far from Nottingham. Like she stayed somewhere close to London. And so that was, very far from where the school was, so there was no way I could have stayed with my auntie and then still, go to school at the same time. So I had to stay all by myself and then alone.
So can you share a bit of a challenge that you had being an immigrant in a foreign land?
Yeah, so the bigger challenge was for me to meet my rents on monthly basis. I mean, for other, for food, for daily meals, I think I had like support from friends. Yeah, but the biggest part, one of the biggest part for it was me meeting my rent on monthly basis. This was something that I had not experienced before. It was my first time. And because I also wasn't under, any fully funded scholarship, that will help me pay for the rent. I had to struggle and then get the money to be able to be paying the rent monthly. And the apartment that I had, I always say that the landlord was very, very understanding for me. He was a very educated person and then understood my challenge. So at some point in time, I think I was behind for about 3 or possibly 4 months rent. And I was like, no, I have to do something to be able to get the money, to pay for the rent. So I had to look around and I was looking for any job that I could get, to be able to get some money and then be able to at least, settle my landlord. I could not take its kindness for granted. I had to do something. And so getting a job, as a student, and then under the regulation of the UK, you are supposed to work part-time. You shouldn't exceed 20 hours. So getting something part-time was challenging, and it wasn't something that came easy. So, but then I still keep looking, but and I found one, which was, I would say, very, very challenging because the nature of the work was I have to wake up early and then, catch some of the workers going, in the morning. Sometimes I have to wake up at dawn, somewhere around 4 a.m. so as to be able to meet other people who are also going to the same site to work. And then mostly we moved outside the city, to somewhere rural. And, the work was like some sort of like a farming job, very challenging. So you go there, you work almost for about, it was a 12-hour shift. So which means that, yes, I had to sometimes forsake classes and then also go because at this point, I needed money to be able to meet the rent that was, that I was behind with. So yeah, so I did that. Sometimes you go, the moment you come back, you have to quickly find something to eat. So I go early in the morning, come back somewhere around close to 8 or 9. I have to quickly get something to eat and then sleep and then make it up, early in the morning as well, and then go. So it basically became something sort of unbearable, but something that I also had to do to be able to get the money to meet the rent. Yeah. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges, getting a small part-time work that was flexible enough for me to do whilst also being focused on my studies.
Okay,
Yes.
so I want to ask you this. So moving, not to move away from UK totally, I want to ask you about the US experience too. Did you have any challenges in the US? Like, can you share?
Oh, okay. So in the US, yeah, I would say that I had some challenges, but I don't think like it was so much as compared to the UK. So the difference between that was in the UK, I was enrolled in my master's and I had to focus on it whilst also working. But then when I came to the US, I had family member whom I was staying with, and this time around, when I came for the first time, I wasn't doing any studies. I wasn't into any studies, so like I had that flexibility to stay with my uncle, and yeah, I had some help. I had some help there. So I would say that when I came to the US, things were flexible, basically because like I wasn't combining any sort of work with education. Whilst in the UK, I had to strive, to do any sort of work that avail itself, and then so ensure that I was also doing well in school.
Yeah. So I can imagine, because
Yeah.
if you come to a foreign land and you don't have that close relatives around, it's kind of tedious. From my experience, and I know
Yeah,
you know
it
my
is.
story too. One day I'm going to share my story, guys. What are some of the traditions that in the US they do, or in the UK they do, which was quite different from Ghanaian tradition? Maybe any traditions or
Tradition.
practices?
Hmm. Not I don't really know about this, but one thing that I have observed is I think outside people have to be confident and then be able to be expressive and say what you think you are feeling, and also be able to look the person into the eye, and then be able to kind of express yourself to the person. And I think something like this is not a thing that I mean, probably only few people, have that kind of attitude from Ghana, like the culture from Ghana, you are told to know how to talk to an elderly person, by doing some sort of filtering, and also sometimes there are some things that are probably the way we've been taught. You are not, I mean, you just hold them, you just don't express yourself. But here, one thing that I think I've observed, that you should be able to express yourself when there's something that you think needs the attention of your supervisor or anybody or any board. You should also know how to do that. You should know how to communicate very well and also be confident in your approach.
Yeah.
And I think these are some of the things that I don't know, but from my experience, I have seen, in the US, and I think it wasn't, or it isn't something that it is part of me, but it's something that I've observed, and then I'm trying to build myself up in that line. Yeah. So probably these are some of the different that from my experience I've observed.
Yeah, that is really true. Yes, in the US and everywhere. I think with American this America, I'm talking about where I am right now, because it's the only experience that I have. You have to be very confident. You have to be very, like, sometimes vocal. You know,
Yes.
you have to be organized in everything that you do. So yes, and then wait. Okay, I want to tell my viewers that send a make a brofi. Metimaka tree pa. It's Miss Remo. Mo muka tree no. Your home it is some person about show no so. Kindly put it in the comment section. I'll make contact so na ya tree. Ebe tree crowding enye de enkikabi kikawa wom. Ebe tree crowding. So person oba show no so na all country so. I am there for you. You know, his Mike is a doctor right now. A doctor, when I'm saying doctor, it doesn't mean doctor, but it means doctor, PhD. So that one, he's having a lot of knowledge and everything. So if you want to have more detailed conversation, you can put it in the comment section. I read my comments, I respond to comments, I respond to emails, I respond to my inbox, anything. So you can always reach me. Yes, Mike, I want to ask you, can you share some of the most memorable moments or heartwarming moments that you have experienced since moving to the UK and then the US, since you have that experience from both places?
Yeah, so I think I like to say that the first time traveling outside the country, was something that brought gladness to me. I was so happy with that, and also getting the opportunity to, especially in the UK, getting the opportunity to move somewhere closer to London, and then get to my auntie, and having that kind of family connection with her was something that at the point was the feeling was so great. I was so happy to be there. And again, to coming to the US too, was the time that I also met with my uncle, and then we had that kind of family connection, because these are people that I have known, and then from some time they moved out of the country, and it had been a long time since I had seen them. So meeting them again, in that country, was something that was good, and it brought that kind of gladness to me. Again, so I also have to say that I was also kind of happy, when I came to the US, and then I had the opportunity, I had the chance to come to South Dakota State University, and then I also reunited with family and friends whom have been in the same class. I think about 4 or 5 of us. Fortunately, we met, and I think the experience was also very good. So yeah, probably there are some more, but I think these are some of the remarkable, happiness, that I felt, when I traveled outside.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So moving to I'm moving to another question, which is, what do you find most interesting or exciting about the culture in the country in US here, like, and how does it differ from our culture back home? Like, what do you find most interesting here?
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do I? Yeah. So I think here, probably everywhere, but much more here in the United States. You are supposed to be much more independent. I would say you have to be independent. In everything that you do. Basically, you have to be able to take care of yourself. Be a bit, you have to have, to be able to control, like have control over what you do. So that sort of independence, it's something that I've observed, and it's not very common, because back in Ghana, you have many, you have like interdependence, like you can rely on people for everything and stuff like that. People can, but then here in America, yes, there are some help, but then basically you have to have that effort of being that kind of independent. So I think being here, I think in a way it is something positive for me, because back in Ghana, let me say, yeah, you have to be able to drive by yourself. Yes. So that kind of pushed me to learn how to drive. And then by God's grace, I'm able to handle the wheel and then drive by myself. I don't have to rely on anybody, which, I mean, back in Ghana, I never thought of even driving, all by myself. Yeah, and then I'm also kind of also taking care of myself, taking care of my bills, making my own plans, that kind of yes, I make my own decisions, and yeah, so yeah, I find it um kind of maturity or growth, in that part of my life, to be able to do things, and then have that kind of the sole prerogative of making my own decisions and then taking my own initiative. Yeah, and I kind of enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine how you are
Yeah.
enjoying the independence.
Yeah,
You
being
know?
independent. Yes, yeah, I do my own thing, make my own decision. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, very true. No one will interfere in your business, and
No,
you
no, 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 no,
don't
no.
want to also
Yeah,
interfere in other people's business. And yeah, in the US, you have
yeah,
to be very independent, very true.
yeah.
And yeah, so I want to know some of the stereotypes or misconceptions about immigrants, if you have experienced any form of that, the misconception that immigrants face in the UK, in the US.
Like some misconceptions, like what? I don't know if you can give me an example or elaborate on that.
So
Misconception. Like, is
misconception.
it coming from the immigrant, like the way they view like out, US or UK?
No,
Misconception from the
maybe in the
immigrant.
US, maybe someone in a way have said immigrants, this is just an
Mm.
example, immigrants are not a better fit, especially when
Oh,
we're looking for a position. Maybe someone
mm.
will pass a comment, immigrants, they don't know how to speak English like us or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think basically, personally, I haven't experienced that.
Okay.
Um, I think if there is any story that I've heard, basically it has been about, like I said earlier, sometimes we immigrants we are not confident, and then we don't kind of express ourselves. So this sort of timidity makes some people, be looked down upon, but not necessarily the kind of job that they do. But I think it's because they are not vocal, and then they are not standing up for themselves, and they are not kind of, like hitting the nail right on the head, being a bit of, ready to punch back, that kind of thing. Yeah, but from I haven't had any experience where people, have looked down on immigrants. Basically, probably because I am surrounded with good people who are also, in good standing, and they know what they are doing. So yeah, I haven't had personal experience from that, and neither, with the exception of this story that, people are not confident with the way they behave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had any. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. And then I'm taking you back. So how long were you in the UK?
In the UK, I was there for, let's say, about 2 years, I would say.
And then in the
Yeah.
US, how long have you been here?
In the US, I think I might have been here for about 8 years. But if I add, the years that I've been outside Ghana, I think it's about 10 years now. UK 2, US probably 8 years.
Wow. So have you ever tried visiting home?
Yeah, I'm making plans of probably, I don't making plans of going somewhere next year. Somewhere
Okay.
next year. Yeah. If only if something that I'm planning back home, falls through, and then like my plans, goes well, then yes, I'm probably going somewhere next year.
Okay. How do you balance preserving your culture identity while embracing the culture of your new home? How did you balance like preserving our culture?
Yeah, so I I would say that, how do I go about this? So I would basically say that I am kind of somebody who try to stay out of trouble, Yeah, in America, I think there are a lot of things, there are a lot um of things that are open that you can get yourself involved in. But you see, like our culture kind of places restriction on certain things that probably you can do. So basically I try, to keep myself, out of trouble. I still look up to the my culture that I know, and then the tenets that I have been told and then I've been brought up with, I ensure that I still uphold them and overlook things that I see dampens the culture that I'm aware of. I think at this point in time, by God's grace, I see myself as matured enough to be able to make decisions as to which things to pick and which not to pick, and whilst also having focus on what I want to become in the future.
Yeah, that's great. Very great, because you have to stay out of trouble. You are in a foreign land.
Yes. Yeah,
You
there are some things here that probably the native, they do or they can do, but then you have to be careful as an immigrant not to get yourself involved in certain things. Yeah.
So have you faced any language barrier when you moved to the UK and then the US? Did you face any language barrier?
Yeah, I think when I traveled out for the first time, especially in the UK, I mean sometimes, but not with everybody. There are some people that when they talk, I cannot make sense of what they say. And then there are others too that I think I could kind of understand what they say. So yes, I've had, experiences with language barrier, especially, coming from understanding some of the natives, the way they talk, because sometimes some of them, I would say there are some of them here who haven't had formal education. So they use some of their jargons and like the way and manner they speak their English might be different from those who might have had the formal education. There are some that are really, really fast, with the way, they communicate. And yeah, so I found myself in a situation where I think I have struggled understanding some of these native, and it really came at the very first when I traveled out. And at some point, I think when I traveled out, like I was hesitant in telling them, to kind of probably repeat what they said, because probably I was timid, but now I don't care. If you say that I don't understand, I will look into your eyes and tell you if you can repeat what you say, so that I can pick it up. So I think that, I've had that experience, and then I've learned, to know how to handle them when it happens.
Okay, so for the sake of our brothers at home and those who are new to the US system, what advice can you give it to such people, immigrants like?
Yeah, so the advice that I'll give to people from Ghana, is to be focused in whatever they are doing. They should do their very best, and yeah, if they are seeking for opportunity to travel outside, traveling outside is good. I think I've had many positives traveling outside. They should do their best, if they can, to travel. Yeah, they should ensure that they do it, but they should also make sure that they make plans for traveling, because you have to make sure that you have the kind of support that you will need, in order to survive. Because here, if you travel outside and then let's say you don't have like, if for my case, when I travel first outside, like I didn't have a fully funded scholarship, I really struggled, and I had to do something. And this is the case, even like I had a chance to work. Yeah. So if you want to travel outside, make sure that you have all the support, let's say from family members who can support. Now, I always say that if you are traveling and then you don't have the employment authorization or the authorization to work, then probably you should consider, staying with a relative. If you don't have any relative outside and then you are traveling, without, having any, that sort of a proper authorization to work, then you have to really, really think about or, consider it. But still, if you are hopeful and then you still want to do it, I mean, traveling outside, I think it brings a lot of opportunity. Yeah. So yeah, so I encourage people, to do their best to to um to be diligent in what they do, and then if the focus is traveling outside, let them try and then attempt it. Yes.
Yeah, so can you share some of the benefits that you've attained throughout you traveling for 10 good years?
Oh yes. So traveling outside, I think I've been able to help my family back home, my siblings who at the time, they were in high school and then the university. I mean, my mom always praises me, for being very supportive. So then I know that like I did my part, in helping them. Right now, they've been able to complete their education and then they are doing their own thing, and that's something that I've done. And I've also been my mom is also proud of me, to have been able to be here and then be very supportive of her as well. So that's also another plus. And then I have some other activities going on in Ghana, which basically if I was in Ghana, I wouldn't have been able to, let's say, start or do as well. But my presence here has helped me, to be able to have some plans, that and then some activities that I'm undertaking in Ghana. Yeah, so these are some of the opportunities.
Thank you for sharing. And to ask this question, how do you stay connected with your family and friends back home, and how has technology played a role in
Yeah, so
this relationship?
yeah, I remember somebody asked me if I miss my parents, and I was like, I don't know if I miss them. I don't have that feeling of missing them. As long as like I'm able to call them and then we talk, I think in some way somehow I feel good. As long as like yeah, so yeah, technology has really been helpful, making my family be close to me. As if to kind of reduce the barrier of distance. So I'm able to talk to my mom anytime that I feel like. She's also able to call me, family and friends too. For people that I communicate with too, I call them. They also are able to call me, and that kind of make me have like bring that sort of close to me. Brings my family and friends closer to me. So yeah, technology has really helped reduce that kind of distance.
Okay, so you mostly call them. Do you
Yes, I
do
do.
that FaceTime or anything that you can
Yeah,
see?
mostly I call them, and then on some few occasions we do video calling. I stopped doing video calling because, excuse me, say there are some you do video calling and then they are like, look at your cheeks. This is how you look right now and stuff like that. They kind of want to say you put on with something like that. I hate that. So I mostly do calling on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. Mostly on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you think the local community and society as a whole can be more supportive and welcoming to immigrants, if you have any? Thank you.
But I mean, I really don't know how the local community can be of support. Um, I mean, probably I might be wrong with the way I'm answering this, because here in America, many people have what they are targeting. They have what is chasing them. They also have their dreams and stuff like that. There are people who mostly don't have time to mingle and then associate themselves. There are people who have difficulties and then challenge. They've still not yet found their feet yet. And so these sort of people probably don't have the avenue to help other people who come in. And I think one of the challenges with traveling outside is meeting the right people, and then the right people also helping you. if there is a chance that there is a group, and they are well to do, and then they can help and then support other immigrants, then yeah, that's fantastic. But I think like a group that that will have its support. I don't think that it's something that immigrants should be counting on so much. Yes.
Yeah.
And if they happen, to find themselves, to find a group that is dedicated to help them, then that is a very good opportunity. But I wouldn't say that it's something that immigrants should really count on.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. It's true.
At least from my experience.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
It's true. So from your experience, can you share with me the food or something that you've missed a lot? Like maybe you had friends and everything.
Yeah. Of course, I met Ghanaian food a lot, and especially with where I am right now. There isn't any kind of Ghanaian restaurant here, so that makes me
Can you
miss.
mention the type of food? Can you mention the name?
Yes. So is it TZ? Yes, TZ. Yes, I miss TZ so much. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's the food that I would say I miss a lot. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
And then yam too.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. But you can
Yes.
get some from the African markets.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't have African market that sells yam. Not that I've seen. Somewhere in Sioux Falls, which is like 1 hour drive. I mean, sometimes yes, I used to get yam from there, but here in Brookings, no. I mean, not that I am aware of. Not that I'm aware of. And I think yam. Probably the other reason why it's very expensive. Yam is a very small yam. Can cost you about close to $10 or $15. It can be expensive. Yeah, so probably that's the reason.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it can
It's
be
expensive anyway. Yeah. So how do you see the future? How is the future like for you in the
The
US?
future.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know what the future holds, but I know who was the future. So we are only trusting God that God makes things better for us. We still have dreams. We have dreams of establishing ourselves in terms of our marriages. We have dreams of accomplishing ourselves in terms of education. We have other dreams of acquiring some properties here also as well. So yeah, we can only be hopeful for some of these things and then commit things to God, for God to help us. Yes.
Thank you very much. And then what message would you like to convey to our viewers, maybe about the value of embracing diversity and understanding different cultures, like
Yeah, so
anything.
yeah, I mean, to our viewers, I would say that be confident and then do your best and study hard. Yes.
So one last question. This is from me to you. One last question is going to be from all the experiences that you've gathered throughout the years, if you are given the opportunity again, if you knew it before, if you know all this experience, would you travel again? Do you want to travel?
Yeah, I think like I've had many positive, from traveling. So yes, I think I'm happy with where I am. Yes, and then I don't think I can complain about it. The Lord has been very good to me, and yes, so if I'm to travel again, I think I will do. My life has become better, I would say, by God's grace, since I traveled from Ghana, and my family has also benefited from that. Probably other people might have too.
Yeah, friends and families. I know it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Frimpong. And then
thank you too.
Do you want to give some shout outs to your family? Anyone that you want to give?
Oh yeah. So Yeah, for all those watching us, I want to thank you all, and a big thank you goes to my friends, at the Crowflow market, which have been moved to the Tafo market. Yeah, so I thank you all. You've all played a big part, in making me become who I am today. And then I also thank my friends and then my colleagues whom I also played with. I played with Ebony. So yeah, all my friends and colleagues whom I played with too. Yeah, thank you. A big thank you to my coach, Audu. Yeah. And then thank you to Ogauli. He was really helpful. And then shout out to a very good friend of mine, Nangode Sapon. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So, and then to all those who know me, and then you were hoping that I mention your name. So if you're watching me and then you know me and then you played a big part, in making me become who I am today. Yeah, a big shout out to you as well. Yeah,
thank you, Dr. Michael Frimpong, for coming to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Guys, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, like the video, and then comment under the comment section. Thank you. So hi guys, this is Miss Ann, and this is our YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe, like, and follow the page.